I've been using the Elgato Stream Deck for many, many, many years now, and I don't think I need to say this. I feel like I'm preaching to the choir, but it's a phenomenal device, and it's most definitely one of the most useful, versatile, and most important pieces of gear that I have in my setup because of the amount of control it allows me to exercise over all my workflows, right? And as amazing as it is, though, over the years I have found myself having to really think about why do I have to take my hand off of my mouse, extend my arm across my desk, press a button, or turn a dial to execute a command or an action or a function. It makes sense most of the time, but there are certain instances where I don't think that's wholly necessary. And that is where Virtual Stream Deck comes into play. In the event that you don't know what Virtual Stream Deck is, well, as the name implies, it is a software version of Stream Deck. It can do, I want to say, just about everything a physical Stream Deck can do without having to actually click and tangibly press and physically press a button or physically turn a dial. Now, there are a lot of benefits to pressing a button and especially turning dials when it comes to controlling your volume levels for different sources and channels and mixes. However, there are several instances that I'm going to show you today where I don't think you need to even take your hand off of your mouse to execute a command, an action, or a function. Now, the next logical question I think you'd be asking right now is how do I get access to Virtual Stream Deck? Well, it's very simple. If you own a Stream Deck, you have access to Virtual Stream Deck. And if you don't own a Stream Deck, but you happen to have something like the Scimitar Wireless Elite SC mouse from Corsair, or even the newest released Night Sword V2 from Corsair, if you have either one of those two mice, you also have access to Virtual Stream Deck. Now, before we move on, I want to be transparent and honest with all of you. I am an Elgato partner, and this video is sponsored by Elgato. Now, this one's a little different because they didn't send me a product to do a review on Virtual Stream Deck or to do this little tutorial or guide, if you will. But the Elgato Stream Deck Plus XL that gives me access to Virtual Stream Deck, they sent that to me for free for the purposes of making content on it. And just about every other piece of gear that I have from Elgato has also been sent to me for free. So I want you to know that. Do with that what you will. Let's go ahead now and let me show you how I use Virtual Stream Deck. First things first, I'm going to assume that because you probably already own a Stream Deck, you've already downloaded and installed the Stream Deck app and that you've got that set up and running. And if that's the case, all you need to do is go over here to the drop down where you see your Stream Deck device there, click it, and go to Virtual Stream Deck. This will be blank for you. I've already set it up for the purposes of this video and for the purposes of me using it, but this will be blank. So you're going to go to the menu button over here. You're going to click that open, and here you're going to be able to make some adjustments. First, let's talk about the interface. You can have it fixed, which means that it is visible at all times and in the spot that you designate it to be at all times. I don't want that to happen, so I have it set to dynamic. Dynamic allows me to summon it at the press of a button, and then the minute I move my mouse away from that window, it disappears. Now, how do we summon it with our mouse? Well, the good news here is that you don't have to have a Corsair mouse to do this. All you need to be able to do is set a macro or a hotkey to a button on your mouse, for example. I'm using the Glorious Model D, the wired version, right? And if I go here to my start menu and I'll open up the actual software itself, you're going to see that all the different buttons here are mapped out. I can assign different macros to different buttons, and I've chosen button number 5, which is the left hand buttons on the side of the mouse, the rear one specifically. If I go to macro editor, I already made one for Virtual Stream Deck, and you're going to see that I have it set to where when I press this button right here, it basically tells my computer I am pressing Shift Control Space. Okay. Now that's taken care of and that's done. In the menu options here of the Stream Deck application, you're going to record the hotkey of your choosing, but in my case, it is Shift Control Space. And when I press this button on the left hand side of my mouse, the rear one, I press it once and bam, Virtual Stream Deck pops up. And the minute I move my cursor out of that window, it goes away. And to automatically hide Virtual Stream Deck, you go back to the menu option in the auto hide section. Just make sure that the first one is checked in. It'll auto hide when the cursor leaves the interface. You can also determine the layout and the size and how many keys you in essence get to use here. I have 3 rows and 6 columns. So 3 rows of 6 keys. You can also set it up to auto hide any keys that you have nothing assigned to, which will keep everything nice and clean. You can change the key size, you can change the opacity of the entire interface, and you can even change the background color. Once you have this all set up to your liking, you're ready to go. You can go ahead and start adding in all the different commands and functions and actions that you want to execute using Virtual Stream Deck. You, in essence, take it from the side over here, you drag it, drop it in, and go from there. I'm going to assume that you're watching this, you already have experience in doing so. So I'm not going to go any further than that. Now, I have an OLED 32-inch 4K display right here in front of me. It's my main display. Absolutely gorgeous, absolutely phenomenal. It is the Samsung Odyssey G8. Because it is an OLED, I am trying to protect this thing as much as I possibly can to prevent and postpone burn in for as long as possible. And one of the ways the internet constantly tells me to do that is by auto hiding my taskbar. So as you can tell, my taskbar is not present. If I take my cursor and move it down, then bam, it'll pop up. And when I go back up, it goes away. I don't like that. I really, really hate that. I wish I could just completely eliminate the taskbar and it never come back up no matter what I do. And maybe there is a way. I maybe just haven't found it just yet. But one of the ways that I use Virtual Stream Deck is I basically use it as my taskbar. So I'm going to summon my Virtual Stream Deck by clicking the mouse button on the side. And as you can tell, the top row is basically what I would use my taskbar for. I can open up my start menu, right? And the minute I execute that function, by the way, the interface goes away, right? I can go ahead and open up Task Manager. I can open up Chrome, OBS, DaVinci Resolve, Steam, and so forth and so on. Makes things very easy to access still without the taskbar here, keeps the taskbar away. I honestly prefer how this looks, to be honest, without the taskbar being here at the bottom. It just doesn't look right anymore in 2026. So that's one way that I use Virtual Stream Deck. Another way that I use Virtual Stream Deck is I'm going to open it up and I'm going to go over to the next page. I can automatically mute my Elgato Wave 3 Mark II right now. I'm going to mute it in 3, 2, 1. But as soon as I click that button again, it unmutes it and allows me to speak into the mic and allows you to hear what I have to say. This is very handy, I think, when you really need to mute your microphone like super fast. Whatever the reasoning may be behind that doesn't really matter. I think that could be for a multitude of different reasons. But if you're just sitting here having a conversation with some chat, friends, etc., playing some games, and maybe your parents, your significant other, your partner, your kids come into the room and you just want to mute yourself really quickly, boom, bomb, done, just like that. Easy peasy, lemon squeezy. Another way that I use Virtual Stream Deck is to pick the device that all of my audio is going to. I've got my Wavelength 3 mixes and routings and all that set up. I have Wave XLR Pro handling all the hardware itself, my speakers and my headphones, for example. And I just need to be able to quickly tell Wavelength where to send that audio. So I'm going to open up my Virtual Stream Deck interface, and you can see that I have the button here to toggle across the two. So right now it's set to line out. That means that any audio I play is going to go to my Edifier speakers. But maybe I want to play some games and I want to stream and my kids and wife are all asleep and I don't want to be loud and I don't want to be inconsiderate, right? So I want to change my audio to come out of my headphones instead. I just simply click it and it switched over to headphones 2. And now all audio from all the sources and the routing and mixing that I've created within Wavelength 3.0 is coming to these instead of my speakers. And that took a fraction of a second to do. As a content creator who makes videos for YouTube, I am constantly in DaVinci Resolve. And I have an old video that I worked on that's already out and published, right? But I have an old one here pulled up to show you how else I use Virtual Stream Deck. So if I want to add a clip to this project, to this video, traditionally I need to right click within Resolve, go to Import Media, find the drive that holds the folder with my footage in it, which is going to be F drive. I need to go to monitors. And let's just pretend I want to add this clip in. I simply click it and I go down here and I press open. And that's quite a few steps for something so simple. And again, in my mind, I'm just trying to find ways to kill as many steps between point A and point B as humanly possible. So we're going to Alt Z out of that one, or Control Z, sorry. And this time I'm going to bring up my Stream Deck interface, and you're going to go back a page and you're going to notice I have different keys set up to open folders immediately. I have an F drive key. I click it open. I can go straight to monitors, drag and drop, and done. Look how much faster that was compared to having it do it the traditional DaVinci Resolve way. This one particular use case is incredibly useful, at least for me, and saves me a lot of time in the grand scheme of things because I have all of my footage, all of my pictures, thumbnails, video assets, so forth and so on. I have all of those organized into their own respective folders across a couple of different drives that are here on my PC. And just being able to quickly access them by simply opening up my virtual Stream Deck and quickly clicking on the folder that I want to open. Like, let's pretend I just want to open up my Stream Beats because I want to add some Harris Heller music to my videos. I don't have to dig for this folder going through all of this drive over here. I can just quickly access it by opening this, clicking that, and I'm there. And if you have a specific folder with maybe your favorite tracks or a specific album of his that you constantly use across your videos, you can just narrow it down to that and have very quick access to whatever file you need. Since we're on the topic of music and DaVinci Resolve, one of the things, and this is what actually inspired me to use Virtual Stream Deck a lot more and make this video. One of the things I can't stand, and I sincerely hate this from the bottom of my heart, is that I'll add my music into its own little folder in Resolve. And then, I want to hear the track so I can get a feel for where in the video it should actually go. Right. So I have to preview the song. Right. And by the way, let me go ahead and turn voice focus off. All right. Again, using Virtual Stream Deck, that was really quick, right? So voice focus is off. I'm going to play this song as if I'm previewing it to identify where I wanted to go in the video. And because I haven't really messed with the track that it's going on, it's going to play it at 100% volume. So I'm here in my room. This is about to get really loud, by the way. So three, two, one. I'm going to play the song because I want to preview it, right? This is loud. Like, this is extremely, extremely loud. I don't need it to be this loud at all. I don't need it to be this loud. That is annoying, right? So I open up my virtual Stream Deck interface. I'm going to go to my next page, and I have two keys right here assigned. One key to bring the channel that is controlling DaVinci Resolve's audio in Wavelength 3.0, bring that to 100% volume. And I have another one to bring it down to 50%. So let's go ahead, bring it down to 50%, and now let's see what happens. Bam. That is way more manageable. I can work with that. I don't have to worry about blasting this music in my home. Again, maybe my kids are taking a nap. Maybe my wife is watching some TV. I'm not trying to be disruptive. I'm trying to be considerate. And I also don't want to get scared every single time that I try to play a track, right? Now, the other reason that I really like doing that is because this is the instance where I constantly had to take my hand off of my mouse in the middle of editing a video, find the dial that is tied to DaVinci Resolve's total volume, if you will, and turn it from 100 all the way down to 50. And I have my steps set to 1% at a time, so it took a few seconds. And then I preview the song, I drag it into the timeline, I add it in, and then the timeline's already adjusted to be the appropriate levels that I want to output in the final video, if you will. So now I have to take that dial and turn it all the way to 100 again. And I'm like, oh my God, dude, I am losing time in doing this for every single time I want to add a track to my videos. And by simply opening up Virtual Stream Deck and selecting 50% so I can preview the song, once I have that song selected, I previewed it. I like how it sounds. I like where in the video it's going to go. I haven't blasted my eardrums out by maxing it out at 100%. I'm going to open up my Virtual Stream Deck interface, go to the next page. And now I can set Wavelength's DaVinci Resolve channel and mix back to 100% by clicking this button. And I'm going to drag and drop this into the music channel that I've already created within this project, within this video. And as you can see here, it's already set to negative 42 dB. So at 100% volume in wavelength for the specific channel, managing Resolve, I'm going to press play now. We're going to make sure that voice focus is still turned off, and it is. I'm going to press play now. And the music is playing as it's going to be in the video. And it is nowhere near as loud as it was when we were previewing it at the same 100% volume. This alone has brought me so much joy and literally has saved me so much time. The time it takes to go from 100% and turn that dial to 50%, listen to the track, add it in, turn that dial back up to 100% is like a few seconds per track. But you add that up over all the videos that you do where you add music in, and that turns into a significant amount of time. And this just shreds that away. Another way I like to use Virtual Stream Deck is to immediately access websites that I frequent, right? So as you can tell, Google Chrome is not open whatsoever. So I'm going to pull up my Virtual Stream Deck and I'm going to go ahead and go to Canva because maybe I just want to work on a thumbnail right now. I don't have to open up Chrome and then maybe hit the shortcut or type the website in. I just click this button and I'm there, just like that, very, very quickly. Maybe I want to watch YouTube. Boom, I'm there. It's going to load up in a second, but boom, right there. See, YouTube's open, easy peasy lemon squeezy. Maybe I want to check what's going on X. Heaven forbid, my lord, but I do that from time to time, every day. And here we go. Just like that, it opens up. Takes a second to load up. Maybe my internet's having a day off today. I don't know what the deal is here, but bam, just like that. As soon as I move out of the way, that interface is gone, and I'm here taking in all that X has to unfortunately offer these days. Or maybe I just want to go straight into ChatGPT. Bam. There it is, right there. Very quick, very quick. And that's the whole point. That virtual Stream Deck for me just helps me execute functions and commands and actions that I don't really feel require me to extend my hand and actually touch and engage with my Stream Deck Plus XL. The Stream Deck Plus XL, again, absolutely incredible device and definitely has its features and benefits and value that it provides to my setup, but I don't always need to use it. Not for these types of functions. Those buttons and those dials are better saved for more specific, granular tasks, if you will. And the final way that I've set up Virtual Stream Deck to work for me is to control Spotify. Now, listen, I'm just showing you the little bit I've been able to set up and think through as far as what we can do with Virtual Stream Deck. You're going to find a bajillion, quadrillion, quintillion different ways to use this. I am excited to see what y'all come up with. I hope you share those ideas with me and how you use them and share them with each other because you can literally do just about anything that you want. If you can do it on a Stream Deck physically, you can do it in the virtual version of this program. But here, look, I'm going to pull up my interface. All right. I've already got the buttons assigned over here. We're going to listen to a lo fi version of the Great Fairies Fountain. Ready? So it's going to play. And I got the volume, kind of set up a little bit here for you, but you can kind of hear it already. This is a fantastic track. This is from, who's the artist here? Bits and Hits. Go check them out. They're on Spotify. They're phenomenal, make really great songs, based off of a lot of the music that we like from all the video games that we like to play, right? But I can play, I can pause, right? Maybe I want to switch to a different track. We can go forward. We can go over here to the Elden Ring version. This one's a banger, by the way. I don't want to listen to that. Maybe we can go ahead and listen to Tristram instead, if you're a Diablo fan, for example, right? But again, really quick actions, really quick commands, really quick access. We can just stop it right here, move out of the way, and it's gone. Just like that. Easy peasy lemon squeezy. That's about it. That is so far to date how I've been able to set up Virtual Stream Deck to work for me. And again, I am sure you're going to find a whole lot of other ways. Yes, you can set this up to change your scenes. Yes, you can set this up to capture clips without having to take your hand off of your mouse. This is amazing. This is such a powerful complement to what a physical Stream Deck brings in terms of value and efficiencies to all of our workflows. If you have a Stream Deck, I highly encourage you take advantage of Virtual Stream Deck. If you're getting a Stream Deck, I highly encourage you to immediately become familiar with how to use both of them complementary at the same exact time. If you have any questions, please let me know in the comments below. I hope you found the video informative and helpful. Let me know that too down there below, because if you tell me this wasn't helpful, that tells me not to make content like this. If you tell me this was helpful, that tells me to make more content like this so I can better serve you. In the meantime, you have a wonderful day. Take care of yourselves. Be good to yourself. Be good to one another. Peace out.